Good morning, Hapeville friends and neighbors near and far. Welcome back to the Hapeville channel. Usually I have a plan of where I'm going to walk and what I'm going to share, but today it's such a pretty day I just wanted to get out of the house and I don't really have a plan. But I'm here, good morning Kim. I'm here at Jess Lucas Park. There's the depot, the church. We have a beautiful track now that goes all the way around. There's Christ Church over there. Wells Fargo. Hi, Carmen. So, I really don't have a plan, but I figured I'd take a walk. I've been over here before. This always surprises me, by the way. You see this in town a lot. I don't know why it's like this, but really? That's interesting. I don't know. I guess that's Georgia Power. But really, I went across the street. Look at this. Look, I'm just la 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 la. Oh my God, I've hung myself. You see that a lot around town. It surprises me. Just things that look like cobbled together. I guess that's small town living. Oh, good morning, Ashley. We're so excited to have Ellie with us shortly. I'm so happy. Hi, Beth. So anyway, it's a beautiful day. It's a sweater and a coat and a hat and thermal underwear day. Did you guys hear that it's supposed to snow? I know some people are looking forward to it. I am not. I lived in Manhattan for quite a few years and not ready for snow. And I'm always a little afraid of what's going to happen in Atlanta when there's snow. Like, people kind of freak out. Hi, Angela. Good morning, my friend. Angela Floyd, everybody. So I'm just randomly walking today with no plan. I often have a plan, but here we are at the church. I have a picture in the archives of a bunch of people standing right here being photographed from that direction back in the 70s when the church had pretty big congregation. Hey, yes, we are yard working before the ice. We are about 20 miles south of you. Are you? Okay. So you've heard it too. I've showed this before. The Humphrey brothers, Joseph and John, dedicated this park to their parents back in 1929. Good morning, Matina. Anyway, I know a lot of you that don't live here now and haven't been here for a while, maybe haven't seen the construction over here of all these townhomes that are along Atlanta Avenue and South Fulton. I went to Girl Scouts at Hapeville United Methodist when I was in elementary school. Did you? Isn't it? Look at how beautiful it looks today. It's just so odd to see such a big church that used to have so many people. Just such a big institution sitting here practically empty. It's fascinating to me. Good sunny morning, Tamra. It's my neighbor, Tamra. That house was built in 1900. Al and Tim live there now. This used to be John and one of the Humphrey brothers lived there and sold all this land to the church. They were lawyers back in the day and a judge. One of them was a judge. I always get them mixed up. There's like John and Joseph. But anyway, I figured I would show you these townhomes over here at South Fulton and College Street. I would love to have seen the homes that were here originally. Did you guys know that they renamed this area Asbury Park? Good morning, Tim. Looks so pretty with the sun on them. Look at that. They look like doll houses. Can you imagine living right there and just going, time to go to church? And there you are. And the old Stone Baptist Church, before this one was built, the old Stone Baptist Church was here for decades. Look, it still has stairs that lead up to nowhere. It is huge, Tamara. I've been inside. It's fantastic in there. It looks beautiful today. I like how each one looks a little bit different. And I don't know anybody that lives here. It's kind of like a different town over here. It's a different set of people that live over here. I haven't met anybody yet who lives over here. Well, that's not true. I met one guy one time. And then these are the newer ones being built. Y'all will remember this house. It's been here for over 100 years, 130, something like that. Maybe not that old. Good morning, Maria. Oh boy, I don't know that I'm gonna go down this way. We're spraying water. Oh, look at that, it's beautiful brick and they're painting it black like that one. It's such a thing these days to paint brick, or paint these new homes black. I don't get it. Doesn't black suck up heat? I don't know. But yeah, they're painting it black. Do you guys remember the Hapeville Heritage House? The big old Leach mansion that used to be down here, right here on the left? It's a whole story with that I haven't shared yet, just because it's such a dark story about Rhonda Weiss and her demise. Oh, look at that. They're improving this spot. I think D. Claiborne told me that he rented a house that used to sit here. You can see the sidewalk is still there. This is where the old Leach mansion used to be. Linda says I used to live across from the Baptist church. Oh yeah, those little brick houses over there. I always forget the woman's name, but she had lived in that big house I just showed that Al and Tim live in. It's pretty much the oldest house in Hapeville. She lived in that house with her son. Oh gosh, I can't keep the name straight. And it's they're a family that was well known, well established here in town. She lived with her son. I want to say J.J. Allen and his mother. The photographer J.J. Allen, I think he lived in that house for a time with his mother, the big one I just showed you. And then his mother built those houses you're talking about, Linda. And then lived in one of them all the way up until the 90s. I'm remembering this from her oral history that's in the Hapeville history book. She had built those 3 houses. Deborah is here. Good morning, Deborah. Do you guys recognize where we are? Do you know that the Christ Church, the little white church that's now in the park, it used to be next to the depot when they originally moved it. Then they realized that the passing train was causing it to shake on its foundation, so then they moved it into Jess Lucas Park, but it originally sat right here. It was a church for a very short time, and then a residence for more years. And there was a woman that lived there that everybody tends to remember. She has a unique last name that I can't remember, but the church sat right there. That corner looks completely different now. Look at that. This is a big square all the way around, and in the middle there's a courtyard with a pool. I've never been in there, but I've seen from Google Maps, I could see it. This is the only house, original house, that's left on this street. Look at this. From what I understand, when the Heritage House was here and Rhonda Weiss owned it, there were other buildings all the way around, and she owned this whole corner. Here, this is now next to the Baptist church. I think that parking lot, it's closed in. I think that's parking for the people who live in the condos that used to be College Street School. And then over there, you can see that used to be Malone's little grocery store. It still sits there. Oh, something's happening with this land. A lot of development is going to happen over here that I think is going to look similar to this. A lot of townhomes are going to happen over here, so we see these signs a lot. Variance application, 3608 to 3622 Georgia Avenue. It doesn't say what the variance is that they're asking for. Oh, it's happening on January 22nd. But that seems to be a thing. I don't understand planning and development and all that, but it always seems like the developers come in and go, we need a variance. We want to cover up this creek. We want to get closer to the road than your laws allow. And I don't know. It seems like variances are kind of easy to get. So I think townhomes may happen here. Let's see. Linda says, I lived in the upstairs apartment of Mrs. Allen, and Juno lived next door. Oh, okay. The upstairs apartment, Mrs. Allen and Juno lived next door. Beth says, we were good friends with Jeff and Sue Stiggins, and he married us. He was the youth director at the Methodist Church. Henry and I helped them when we were in college dating. They lived behind the Leach house in a little cottage. I wonder if that's still there, because I was at a party a couple months ago at Tim and Elle's, and we were out in, they had the party set up in their yard, and I tried to go out in the back, but it's overgrown. I wonder if that little cottage is still there. Hi, Nita. You went to College Street School? Of course you did. Here it is. Beth said, the variance is probably for move from single to multi-homes. Oh, okay. That makes complete sense. That's right, because this whole area was single homes, and they're not building single homes on this side of town, really. It's all multi-homes, which I know the city's happy with because I guess it's more people and more taxes. I don't know. I'm just a guy. There's a lot of land over here, all the way over to Elm Street, that's going to be developed with townhomes. So I've always wondered, Linda, maybe you can tell me, I know that was the school. What was this building? It looks to me like it would have been, was this a little added on gym? Lockers? What is this little extra? Oh, it just has big windows too. What was that? Hi, Beverly. Hi, Dawn. Sorry, the sun is in your eyes. There's the original building. They added dormers on the top, so when you go into the condos, they have a little more height. Oh, that was an auditorium? Oh, how cool. That makes sense. I wonder what they use it for now. Sorry about the sun. Maybe I should go around to the other side. I think I'll go around to the other side. Oh, there's the back of it, so you can see the original windows and all of that. But somebody's coming out to meet someone. But yeah, that makes sense. Beth says, I had a piano recital there as an elementary child. Oh, wow. That's cool. That's really neat. All right. And that was one of the residents coming out. I'll go around the front and around the side. I know there used to be homes over here and down Perkins that take you out to North Central. Somebody told me recently that they had a family member that had a home here, their grandfather or something. But it's just, there's a lot of empty land on this side of town now. Oh, I never noticed that before. On the front it says College Street Center. I wonder when they did that. When was it called the college? I've never seen that before because the leaves were on the trees, but that's an old sign that was put up there. College Street Center. What was that? Was it used as something else after the school closed? Was College Street Center something else? I've only been inside one time into one of the condos. It was beautiful. 2-story condo. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Across the way is Delmar Apartments. They opened up as College Arms. And before that, and I think that was in the 50s, before that there was a huge old house there that was a convent for St. John's Catholic. I'll walk down this way. I've never walked all the way down to Elm Street, so I'll do that. I did a post, I don't know, about a month ago that showed it was a photograph taken from this angle right here. It was in the 50s, and there were a bunch of bicycles tied up here outside the school, and you'd look down, you'd see Malone's there, and then you'd see a house right there, big house right at the curve. Beverly says, I know in the 80s Fulton County Schools used it as an admin building. Aha, that must be why that was put on there. That sign says center. But look at all this empty property here. This is another church you don't see in the Hapeville history book. You know, you hear all about the Baptist, the Methodist church, but this church and the little church on North Fulton, these two churches aren't in the history book for some reason. Hi, how brave are you? All right, not very brave. You're just gonna give me some shit. All right, I hear you. You're like, why are you coming down here? Look at all this empty property. There's two houses still left over here. Number 555 with this little guy who's used to just running free. He's like, I am not used to people just walking around here. Wow, I didn't realize they went back so deep. Again, what I was talking about earlier. What is that? How is that a thing? Come on, Georgia Power or whatever telephone company. I mean, we've got that all over town. I'm just like, but I'm OCD, stuff like that. I'm all about a place for everything and everything in its place. And so seeing stuff like that drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Wow, look at that empty lot. And then you get down here to Elm Street. Oh, here's some more. Look at this, you guys. It's hilarious. The cable coming down, and it's just wrapped around. No dumping, but wrapping is fine. Oh boy. They remodeled these. These aren't, I don't know what these were called. They're not part of that, of Delmar. These are number 536. They remodeled these 2 years ago, right before the pandemic started. But I don't know the names of them now. Oh my God, they're literally just running loose. Two little chihuahuas. I see you. I know. Who's your daddy? So here we are out on Elm Street now, and you can see up to North Central. There's Subway, Domino's. And you know, it's interesting when you research the history of the town, that whole area of businesses that used to be homes back at the turn of the 19th to the 20th century, that was all homes. And so was all this, I would imagine. You still see driveways that lead to nowhere. There's one. Oh, wow. You can even, so somebody's house was here at one point. I've never walked back here before, but I saw like a little foundation back here. Oh, that makes me think there was a business here rather than a home, because that looks like where there would have been a dumpster out behind the business. Yeah. And, yeah. Wow. So much I'll never know. Look at all the pavement here. I wonder what was here. Hi, Elizabeth. Nita, I know. That stuff drives me nuts, but we've got it all over town. I'm just like, how is that a thing? But it's a small town. I know they don't have a lot of, I'm sure that the community services staff or whatever the department is, I mean, they can't keep up on all that. I think it's like 3 guys and one of them lives on my street. I'm oversimplifying, but it doesn't seem that we have the resources to, wow, look at that old tree, you guys. I haven't ever walked down this road, actually. But all of this land, last year, somebody in the city released a development plan, and it shows all of this land over here just being totally developed with townhomes. Wow, I've never been over here. Oh, that's apartments, is it? Thank you, Margaret. There's no sign on them. Wow, I never knew there was a little house tucked back here. Now, this used to be a very vibrant and neighborhood on this side here on Elm, but now it's really quiet. What the hell is that? I have never seen that before. That is a big-ass paved driveway. What is that? I have never noticed that before, you guys. What was that? Anybody know? Wow, it's all paved, so at some point, lots of cars would come here. Oh, now I'm dying to know what that was. What is that on the front? A little drop box? Okay, I'm gonna walk up. Oh, okay, if you move over, you can see it probably used to be a house. Beverly says, I know the airport bought the houses on Chestnut that back up to the back building of the apartments. Am I on Chestnut right now? No, this is Elm. Right, okay, I got what you're saying. Yeah, this used to be a house and somehow it got changed into something. Has a little drop box out front. Does anybody know what this was? I've never seen this before. It looks like a little clubhouse of some sort. Wow. It was a laundromat. Was it? I'll be darned. Thank you, Margaret. I would walk up those stairs, but I better not. They look clunky. Wow. See, this neighborhood used to have so many homes in it that you would need a laundromat. Look at the awning. That's just, the bars have rotted through. Wow, this is fascinating. I had no idea this was here. This was a laundromat. Wow. Look at all the parking, all of this. And then just a house. Now this has a railing next to it, which makes me think that, oh, and it has a little white picket fence behind it. So I wonder if, and there's the apron to where you would drive in, but I don't know what would have been back here. But clearly this was somebody's private property. All of this was at some point. I would say, you guys, out of all the areas of town, this area fascinates me the most because it was the most affected by the airport expansion. I mean, the neighborhood just disappeared. And you've just got like random houses that somehow they held out, and here they are. Here's one. Oh, here we are. We're coming up to Chestnut, which you just mentioned. But look at this one, 3663. Here it is next to this power station, and the street dead ends here now. But look how secluded they are out here. It's just hard to imagine this was ever a vibrant neighborhood. All this would have been, there's an apron leading up to where there would have been a home. That would have gone all the way down and continued into Hapeville, the neighborhood that was down here. But you can see Loop Road is right there. I don't know when this power station was put in at Chestnut and Elm. But my goodness, I don't know what this is back here. I think this is where the city, whenever you have leaves and debris and all that kind of stuff, I think this is where they bring it and dump it. Oh, it says no dumping, but I think the city can do it. See, it's got all this debris and stuff back here, but the neighborhood would have continued. You can see the driveways. There's 1, 2, 3. There would have been more homes back here. Oh, I don't know what it is about seeing where things once were and families used to be and you know, activity. It makes me feel. Have you ever heard the phrase high lonesome? It makes me feel that. It just makes me feel, sad is too broad a term. I feel this high lonesome feeling of like, I know change has to happen, and yet seeing it like this, and 50 years after the fact, you know, it's hard. But all of this land right here. Oh, so this is what you were just talking about. Now let me go. You said, Beverly said, I know the airport bought the houses on Chestnut that back up to the back building of the apartment. Okay, that's what you were talking about. And so, thank you for sharing that. So they bought all this, right? And then this power station, I don't know if that's Georgia Power, if it's something that have to do with the airport. I'll have to figure that out when we get up closer. But you can see that there used to be homes here. And so these were people's backyards. And now here it just sits. But it will get developed eventually. But look how beautiful it is back here. This was people's backyards. Linda said I lived back there on Elm Street too. Did you? I've heard that Hapevillians, they moved around. They never like left town, but they would move around within the town a lot. But look how beautiful this is. So people's homes would have been here. And then these lovely backyards that, oh, it just, I think it breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. I'm not gonna be that person that goes, this shouldn't be, I wish it hadn't happened. That's the world. The world changes, we move on, we call it progress. I think the fact that they bought all of this space and then it has sat here empty. It's kind of seemed, I think that's the part that makes me sad, is that the memories here had to stop, and here we are 50 years later, and people still could have been here a couple more generations, and now it's just a place for people to dump junk. But I guess you wouldn't want to live, you know, that would be what you look at out the front of your front yard. Oh, I wish I could have seen this as the vibrant neighborhood it used to be. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to walk around and look at it now before all of the development happens. But look at that, it's beautiful. So many trees, it would have been a beautiful place to have a home back here. And it's interesting to imagine it and think about it before the airport was what it is now. You know, loud jets and such. Back when it was the Candler Raceway, back in the 1920s. Well, the 1912s, it was an automobile racetrack. And then in 1925, the city of Atlanta leased part of the racetrack for airplanes to land there, mail planes and such. And now it's just huge, but it would have been so quiet back here. And there it is, there's the airport. What is this? It's a something South. New South. I don't know what it says, I can't tell. Oh, I'm gonna walk over and see their sign. But we're at Forest Avenue and Union Avenue. There's a couple gorgeous little houses that still remain back here, just tucked away. Beverly says, I lived in the back apartment building and would catch rides to school with the kids who lived on Chestnut. Oh my goodness. Folks who lived in this neighborhood 100 years ago. They called this the Triangle, the Union Avenue and Forest Avenue Triangle. And I think it was Ed Milton who said he lived on the Triangle. But so there was a home here, and then Hapeville continued that way, where the airplanes come in and land. That was still Hapeville. New South construction. That's what that is. I shared a story one time about a little boy. You all maybe remember Mary Lucy Hammett. She was a teacher. Mary Lucy Hammett, when she was 2, she had an older brother who was about 14 or 15. He was a newspaper boy. Anyway, the Hammett's house was back here. And that newspaper boy, her older brother that she never got to know, he walked up to get his newspapers up at the depot, and he leaned on a light pole at the depot and was immediately electrocuted, and he died. And he was just a kid. That was in 1916. I share that every Halloween because I claim that if the depot had a ghost, it would be that little Hammett boy. Look how beautiful 3670 is with all of the growth on the front. She keeps it beautiful back here. Is that honeysuckle? Oh, beautiful. Let's see, I'm gonna stop here. Here's number 3653, I'm gonna read. Good morning, Terry. Nita says, I keep wishing you would come up on a house I recognize, but just more empty lots. Yeah, it's a lot of empty lots. The Foxworthys lived on Union, right next to the construction business. Did they? It wasn't there, and their house is gone. It was so funny. That must be Jeff Foxworthy's childhood home was there then, because Melvin Redden just texted me today after watching yesterday's walk, and he told me Jeff Foxworthy used to live in a house next to his over on Oak. And I asked him, I said, did he live there as an adult? Because I'd heard as a kid he lived on this side, which Don, you are confirming. So his home was over here, right next to the construction business. So he may have lived, I wonder if the Hammett house was the house he lived in, or if he lived in a house next to the Hammett house. It was 2 different generations, but so he lived in this area. Wow. Good morning, Gene Norton. Thank you for being here, my friend. Everybody, I'm sure if you grew up in Hapeville, you know Gene Norton. He is very instrumental and has been for decades and decades with the growth and the change in this town. His father, his family, when he was a kid, owned Norton's grocery store over here, and I know it was down there, and it doesn't exist anymore. But the Norton family has been instrumental in the growth and operation of Hapeville for decades. Here's number 3656, just sitting back here. Good morning, Craig. This morning's walk is, usually I plan walks out a little bit, but this one is just random and just wandering around. But I enjoy this side of town so much, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to do these walks. I think I'm going to download them off Facebook and save them, because all of this area is going to get developed so much that future generations maybe will enjoy looking back at these walks and seeing what we're seeing now. Here's 3650. That one has 2 doors on the front. Does that mean it was built as a duplex? Which would be unique for a house that old, wouldn't it? Maybe not. But it only has one old driveway. And then here's 3644. Wow. I hope the houses that are left over here, I hope a good number of them do survive. Now we're walking up back towards College Street School. From what I heard from you long-timers, there used to be a grocery store here, a larger store. Like you all remember Malone's, the little tiny candy store and that you've told me about, that many of you would stop at when you left school. But here, so I've heard there was a grocery store at some point. You can see the apron there. Then, of course, there's an old picture that I have from the 1950s where you can see when you're standing up there and you look down at this curve, there was a house sitting at an angle right here where this big tree is. Good morning, Dee. I mentioned you earlier in this walk when I was over by where the Heritage House used to be. You had told me that you once rented a place from Rhonda Weiss across from the house, and it seems that that lot there, they fenced it in nicely, and it looks like they're doing some improvements on that actual lot. But here it is. I love that that's still here. Boy, I would imagine it belongs to whoever lives in that house, 3619. Oh, what I wouldn't do to have that. You know what I would do? I would turn it into a cute little, something to do with Hapeville history. Maybe a little offshoot museum or something. I don't know, but I love it. And I hope it never gets torn down. I really hope it doesn't. I love to imagine it with its glass windows on the front. It's just such a beautiful little place, and it's one of the last, if not the last, standing little neighborhood store here in Hapeville. The neighborhoods used to have these little stores. Sometimes they'd actually be in the front rooms of people's homes. You tried to rent that little store back when you were living over there in the late 90s. I think you told me that. For a tattoo parlor? An artist studio? What did you want to do there, Dee? It's fascinating. Just fascinating when I think of all of the students who would have, the bell would ring and they'd run down and come right down here. I can just see it. And they'd go in there to get their candy or maybe a comic book or a soda, and then continue on down to wherever they lived in South Hapeville. Oh, wistful thoughts. Yes, they are, Megan. They're going to build townhomes down here. Most of this property, if it's empty over here, it's going to be turned into a townhome. This is 3624. It's a beautiful house. I've been in that house before for a piano rehearsal. A guy named Jacob lives there. Here's the back. So now we can see better that building I was talking about that you were saying would have been an auditorium. Look at the big, beautiful windows. I wonder, somebody I know owned that condo, and I had dinner up there one time, but I don't know if what this has been turned into, if that's actually someone's home. But boy, if it is, they got big old windows, didn't they? Megan says, I bought from Jacob. Wait a minute. Am I standing outside your house? Is this your house? Oh, Linda says this was the cafeteria. I wonder what it is now. I wonder what it is now. An artist studio. That's what I thought, Dee. Not that one. The one that was 2 doors down. Oh, gotcha. Oh, you tried to rent the place that was there 2 doors down, but it's gone now. Okay, I gotcha. Oh, I'll be darned. Well, I am stalking outside your house. This must be weird for you to see. Your house is lovely, Megan. I was wondering if Jacob had left because he was, we met him and we were really excited, and then he just disappeared. He decided to leave Hapeville, but we hadn't really established, much of a relationship other than that rehearsal and plans that we'd had to do shows together. And then all of a sudden Douglas was like, where'd he go? And I've often wondered if he still lived there, but you bought it. Okay. Well, I've been in your house and it's lovely. I particularly like in that little hallway that goes from the living room, that little pass through that goes from the living room into that back room on the way to the kitchen, sort of. I like those little built-in cabinets on either side. It's a lovely house. I'm gonna walk over here because I like these really old apartments that sit behind this church. I don't know anything about this church. What denomination built it? I know it's a Vietnamese Baptist church now, but it's not in the history book at all. So I don't know who built it, but so there used to be homes here. I love this. This reminds me of an apartment building that you would find in LA. There are a lot of old apartment buildings in LA that look like this one, and I love the simplicity of it. I really do. 3580. So cool. They put new decks outside. It gets great lighting for plants. Fantastic. My house does the same, Megan. That's important to me. Have we met Megan? I wonder. Beverly says the church used to be a business of some sort. Did it? I'll be a monkey's uncle. I read somewhere at some point, I'm thinking maybe almost 100 years ago, there was a doctor in town and his house was here. Or here. I'm not sure where. And here, this building is now the community services building. It used to be next to City Hall, behind City Hall. But here it is now. I'm gonna walk through this parking lot. All of this back here just blows my mind that there was a time the town had a population thriving enough that this bank was like, we need to have parking spots all the way out here. Look at this, you guys. Like, when was that a thing? Or maybe whatever that was before it was community services used all this parking too, but look at all this. It's crazy. Megan says, I think once a year-ish ago, I bought a birdhouse from you. Oh, you did? Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully we meet again. I tell you, I'm really, really hankering to actually hang out with people. That's why I take these walks so much, because Douglas and I are still, you know, we're acting like it's March 2020, and luckily we're able to do that, but we don't go anywhere. We don't hang out with anybody. We go to the grocery store, double masked. I mean, we're one of the few people that haven't gotten COVID yet, and we're like determined not to freaking get it. So now it's just become a challenge. Oh, look at this. I never noticed this before because I've never been on this side. So just in case you didn't know what that parking lot is for, I'll be a monkey's uncle. See, when you walk rather than drive, you find things you didn't know. Look at that. So that parking lot is for the First Baptist Church. Never knew it. Now I know. What a great old sign. My friend Carol Cahill, Douglas and I know her. She bought this place that Cafe on the Corner, you know, the Randmans had Cafe on the Corner, and then a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, they moved it here, and then they closed. And now Carol Cahill bought that house. So now she owns that house. And actually, we were in talks with her to bring our shows there. At one point, she was thinking of actually turning it into a destination business. And so she built that stage that's right there in the back. But it turned out our plans diverged and we never did do that. But she is enjoying making that space her own. I've never walked back here. So these businesses, I don't really use them. I don't patronize them. Because, and you'll hear when we walk over here, it's real tricky and it's been an issue in this town, but people get booted if they park back here. See, it says, do not park in this parking lot, you will be booted. And so what one of the businesses has done is put out, because people still, they don't see the signs and they get caught and they get booted, so they have put a recording out here. One of the businesses has put a recording. Listen. Can you hear it? Hold on. I've heard about it, but I've never actually heard it.
Stop! Do not park here. You will be booted.
Can you hear it?
Public parking is the last parking lot at the gray fence. Stop! Do not park here. You will be booted. Public parking is the last parking lot.
I had heard that that was a thing, but I hadn't actually been here to see it. I'll be darned. But yeah, there's signs everywhere, but still, people who come from out of town.
Do not park here. You will be booted.
Hi, Kim.
Public parking is the last parking lot at the gray fence. Stop.
Oh, that's an
Do not park here. You will be booted. Public parking is the last parking lot at gray fence.
Oh, I know, Anita. Golly gee. It's a conversation and has been ever since I've been here. Can you imagine coming to downtown Hapeville or visiting Hapeville for the first time, and you come here and that's what you're greeted with? Now, the recording is from one of the local businesses because they're suffering from, you know, that story. And so they've put out here, don't park here, you'll get booted, because they don't want their customers to have a bad experience. So the signs aren't working, and so they put that up. But it's an issue. It's an issue in this town, unfortunately. What businesses are there? There is Nature's Own. There is a Poke Bowl, which I love their food, but unless I'm walking there, I don't go. I don't know. We'll go around and I'll show you the businesses that are there. And then there's businesses here on this side too. So you just have to be knowledgeable and know where to park. And so a lot of times, folks that come to Hapeville, they don't know. And their first experience here in town is they get a boot on their car. And it's like, welcome to Hapeville. You owe however much money it is to get your car back. And it's an awful situation. It's awful. But again, I can gripe about it, but I don't go to the council meetings, so I have no right to gripe about it because I don't go to the meetings and talk about it. But it seems like a very contentious issue that has been difficult for the city to solve, and for some reason, or to come to some resolution. But I hate it. I hate the fact that that's even allowed in this town. I would prefer that it wasn't. But that's just from me. Yeah, Don, Southern Hospitality. That's just my perspective of having worked at the Walt Disney Company for 23 years. The number one intention of the Walt Disney Company is guest experience. You filter everything through what will the guest experience be like. And so something like that would never happen at the Walt Disney Company, because that's a terrible experience to show up in a town to visit and you hear stop and there's big red signs that say don't park here. I mean, it might as well say leave Hapeville, you're not welcome, we don't want your money in the downtown area. So unfortunately, that's how it is right now, but hopefully it changes. So the businesses that are here, the sun's going to be in your eyes, but there is a hookah place. See, I'm not even familiar with these because I never come up here because they said to stop, don't park here. Hookah lounge, a vegan cafe, Nature's Own vitamin store, Bonchon, which is Mexican food, which has been there for a while, Legends Barbershop and Poke Bowl, and then the dentist. Now, what I've heard, and I'm just repeating what I've heard, which is not always a good thing to do, but I've seen it on several accounts. I think that parking lot in the back is actually owned by the dentist office, and that they're the ones who boot people and have the contract with the towers to boot the people. That's what I've heard. But anyway, since I can't do anything about the situation, and I'm not involved in city council in any way, I just avoid that area altogether. And if I have people come to town, that's just a part of Hapeville, I just don't share or patronize because it's too complicated. It's too complicated. Okay, well, here's the Depot Plaza. And this is where, when they moved the Christ Church from the location that you all knew it was in originally, they put it here, right here at the end. And then they moved it in 2010. But this is where I was volunteering for 2 years, maybe a little more before the pandemic hit. Absolutely loved being there. But unfortunately, okay, I can cross. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I'm not in there anymore. And I had been working really hard to help get that space to be more visible, because a lot of locals and visitors don't even really know it's there, and it doesn't seem very accessible to them. And we were making great progress, but then the pandemic hit, and it's just pretty much locked down again, unfortunately. I wish it were otherwise, but it's not. But luckily, we have this, and I can share the town with people in this way, which I love to do. So I've made a big circle, and now I'm headed across Atlanta Avenue back into the park. I'm sure you all have so many memories of events you've gone to in this park. It's a beautiful park. I love the walking and running track we have now. Good morning, Rosie. So I'm coming to the end of my walk. Let's see, Rosie says my grandma Ellen Friedman was a volunteer at the museum. She helped build some of the miniatures in there. You may have mentioned that before. Now, when you say miniatures, are you talking in particular about that really cool dollhouse that they have, that they put in there in, I think in 91, I think that house was put in there. A couple gentlemen, Ed Milton and somebody else, constructed the house, and then the Women's Club, I think it was, worked together and created all the little furniture and everything. I did a post on it on the Hapeville channel, so you can go searching for that, and I have pictures of it. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating little miniature house. Oh, cool, Rosie. That was your grandma. I love that house. I did a video of it and talked about it when the pandemic started in March of 2020. I was doing these videos called An Object of the Day, and I knew that the depot was going to close up and we wouldn't be able to go in there. So really quickly, I filmed all different objects and would like highlight them. They're either on YouTube, on my channel, or they're on the depot page, or they're on Hapeville. I can't remember. It's been a while, but I'm very familiar with that house, and they did a beautiful job. They did a beautiful job. Well, everybody, it's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Hapeville. I hope you enjoyed the walk with me. I certainly enjoyed it. Thank you for being with me. Rosie says, I have a Victorian dollhouse that she and my grandfather, Herb Friedman, built for me at the same time. Wow, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with me. What a prized possession. Oh, it's a beautiful day. I hope it doesn't snow this weekend. I'm just saying. You're very welcome, Nita. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Rosie, everybody else who joined me here. I really appreciate it. Create yourselves a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.